Welcome to the podcast from your RiskFootprint resilience team. We're your pathway to smarter hazard and climate preparedness, offering clear insights, actionable solutions, and expert support to help you safeguard your properties and build true resilience.
What if the biggest threat to your property's value isn't the market, but the weather? And look, we're not just talking about the growing risks from our changing climate. Today, we're breaking down a real-world playbook to fight back, protect your assets, and actually secure their value for decades to come.
All right, so let's dive right in and set the stage. We have to start with the core problem. And it's not just about a building getting a little bit of water damage, it's about its entire financial future being on the line. Let's make this personal for a second. Think about a property you own or manage. How confident are you, really, that it could handle the next big storm or a sudden flood? This isn't some far-off what-if anymore. It's a question we all have to answer, and the stakes are getting higher every single year.
And let me be clear, this isn't a problem for the future. It's happening right now. We're seeing these weather events happen more often, they're more intense, and they're directly hitting physical buildings, they're interrupting business, and yeah, they're absolutely eroding the financial value for everyone involved, owners, lenders, you name it. Okay, so faced with this challenge, you have to wonder, how do we stop just reacting and start getting ahead of these threats? Well, the good news is there's a disciplined system for that. There's a playbook for building resilience. And this right here is the key. This is the game changer. This process isn't about getting yet another report that's just going to collect dust on a shelf. The entire goal is to take you from assessment all the way to a certified solution. It's about actually solving the problem, not just admiring it. So here's the roadmap, the whole 6-step process laid out. It's super logical. You start with a big picture, screening your entire portfolio. Then you zoom in to assess the risky properties and actually calculate the financial value at risk. From there, it's all about action, figuring out costs, recommending the best solutions, and finally, getting it all done and certified. It really takes you from A to Z. All right, let's unpack that first part, the diagnosis phase. This is all about getting to the what, and maybe more importantly, the so what. What are the actual risks, and what do they really mean for the bottom line? So the process kicks off really wide, using powerful data to get a satellite view of an entire portfolio. It pinpoints exactly which buildings are the most vulnerable. Then, once you've found those hotspots, you zoom way in on those high-risk assets for a deep dive analysis. It's just like going from Google Earth right down to Street View. Identifying risk is one thing, but for any owner, for any investor, it always comes down to one question, right? What's the potential cost of doing nothing? What does this threat actually mean in dollars and cents? And this is where the analysis gets really, really powerful. It uses a metric called value at risk, or VAR. The easiest way to think about it is it puts a price tag on a potential disaster. It translates an abstract threat, like flooding, into a specific dollar amount. And it factors in everything, repair costs, lost income, you name it. So this third step is the big so what moment. It uses some pretty sophisticated software to give you the hard data you need. It calculates that value at risk and, crucially, the potential ROI for taking protective measures. This is what lets you make smart, data-driven decisions about where to put your money. Okay, so you know the risk, you've got the numbers. Now what? Well, the process shifts from diagnosis into the action phase. This is about creating a real blueprint, finding solutions, and then actually getting them built. And instead of just leaving you with the problem, step 4 is all about finding solutions. Experts come in and identify feasible, cost-effective fixes, things like flood barriers, stronger roofing, or elevating your critical electrical gear. It's all tailored to that property-specific risks. So step 5 turns these ideas into a concrete plan with detailed architectural designs and solid cost estimates. Then step 6 is about execution. And this is so important. They act as your representative, managing the whole construction project from start to finish. They oversee the work, they handle the testing, and they see it through to final certification, which can even help you negotiate for lower insurance premiums. A huge win. All right, this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's check out the numbers from a couple of actual projects to see the kind of tangible return you can get on this kind of investment. Okay, so take a look at this older motel in Miami. Before any upgrades, the analysis showed that a 100-year storm, a severe but totally plausible scenario, was projected to cause damage equal to a staggering 16% of the building's entire replacement cost. That's a massive financial hit. Now watch what happens. After the retrofit, the risk from that exact same storm just plummets. It goes from 16% all the way down to just 4%. I mean, that's a 75% reduction in potential financial loss. Incredible. And if you thought that was impressive, get a load of this historic hotel in Key West. Potential losses from flooding and hurricane surge completely eliminated, wiped out, down to zero. But here's the real kicker for me. Look at that restoration time. It goes from over 450 days, that's more than a year out of business, down to just 30. For a hotel, that is literally the difference between survival and bankruptcy. So what's the bottom line here? These examples prove that resilience isn't just a cost or some defensive move. It is a strategic investment that actively protects and enhances the core value of an asset. It turns a high-risk liability into a secure, future-proofed property. So we'll leave you with this question to think about. As our climate gets more and more unpredictable, are the old ways of measuring a property's value really enough anymore? Maybe the new, true measure of value is simply its ability to endure. Is resilience becoming the most important asset of all?
Thank you for joining us on this podcast. To learn more, visit riskfootprint.com.